From the ashes of the Mongol Empire, a new power would arise, one that would go on to conquer much of the Middle East, North Africa, and southeastern Europe, even threatening Vienna itself. This is the entire history of the Ottoman Empire, from their humble beginnings to their massive territorial gains under Osman I, all the way to their ultimate collapse following World War I. You are watching this channel. After the Mongol invasion of the Middle East in the 13th century, a new Turkish dynasty emerged in Anatolia known as the Ottomans. Little is known about the early years of the dynasty, but we do know that Osman I became the leader of the Ottomans in 1299. Despite being hemmed in by the powerful Byzantine Empire to the west and the Mongol Ilkhanate to the east, Osman I was able to conquer much of central Anatolia by playing the Mongols and Byzantines against each other. By the time he died in 1326, his empire stretched from the Sea of Marmara in the west to the Iranian border in the east. Orhan I would continue his father's legacy by conquering the city of Bursa in 1325, making it the new capital of the empire. But Orhan I would also begin to focus on military organization, creating a standing army with the goal of expanding the empire. By 1354, the Ottomans had pushed into the Balkans where they sacked the city of Adrianople, which impressed Sultan Murad I. He even went all out with a huge invasion of the Balkans, taking over big chunks of Thrace, making it feel like a real adventure. Murad I was obsessed with the idea of expanding his cavalry force to 100,000 men, and he believed that the lands of the collapsing Byzantine Empire were perfect for raising horses. So while his predecessors may have set the stage for Ottoman expansion, Murad I was the one who really got the ball rolling. In the year 1362, Murad I's campaign through the Balkans brought him into conflict with Serbia. The two would meet at the Battle of Maritsa River, where the Ottoman army won a decisive victory, pushing Serbia back to the gates of Constantinople. Though before we get into that, if you're enjoying this video and want more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. The late 14th century saw the Ottoman Empire grow rapidly in size due to the weakness of the Byzantine Empire. In 1369, Bayezid I conquered Constantinople and made it the capital of the empire. By 1389, most of modern-day Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria, and Romania were under Ottoman rule. The only major powers left for the Ottomans to conquer in the region were the Kingdom of Hungary and the Serbian Despotate. Both would put up fierce resistance, but it wasn't enough. At the Battle of Karansebes, Bayezid I defeated the Hungarians, even capturing their king, Louis the Great. Then in 1389, the Ottomans faced off against Serbia once again at the Battle of Kosovo. Even though the Serbs were led by the legendary warrior Prince Lazar, the Ottoman forces were simply too powerful. The Battle of Kosovo would be remembered as a defining moment in Ottoman history, marking their official takeover of the Balkans and turning them towards westward expansion. But as the Ottomans expanded further into the Balkans, they began to encounter the rising power of Poland and Lithuania. In 1444, the Polish king Casimir IV and the Lithuanian Grand Duke signed an agreement that united the two nations. This union would allow Poland and Lithuania to expand significantly into Eastern Europe, putting them right up against the Ottoman Empire. Sultan Murad II would try to stop this expansion in 1444 at the Battle of Varna. The battle would end in disaster for the Ottomans, though, with Murad II and his son dying in the fighting. The throne would then pass to Murad's son, who would go on to become the infamous Sultan Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople. With the recent defeats against Poland and Hungary, Muhammad felt pressure to raise morale by achieving a major victory. What better way to achieve that than to conquer the historic city of Constantinople? On April 6, 1453, the Ottoman army laid siege to the city. For the next 53 days, the Ottomans bombarded the city walls with cannons. Then on May 29, 1453, the Ottoman army breached the city walls and Sultan Mehmed II entered the city. With the capture of Constantinople, The Ottoman Empire officially replaced the Byzantine Empire as the dominant power in the Eastern Mediterranean. It also marked the end of the Eastern Roman Empire, which had lasted for over 1,000 years. The Ottomans would use Constantinople as a base to launch future invasions into the Black Sea area, as well as the rest of Europe. After the conquest of Constantinople, the Ottoman Empire enjoyed a golden age under Suleiman the Magnificent. From 1520 to 1566, Suleiman ruled over the largest contiguous land empire in the world, stretching from North Africa to the Middle East and southeastern Europe. Under Suleiman's reign, the Ottomans took Baghdad, Jerusalem, Belgrade, Budapest, Rhodes, and more. Suleiman was a strong believer in divine right and saw himself as a successor to the old Roman emperors. He would often attend religious services in elaborate clothing and ride on a golden howdah on the back of elephants during festivals. While he may have been a devout Muslim, he did not discriminate against Christians or Jews, granting them many of the same rights as Muslims, as long as they followed three basic rules: pay taxes, serve in the military if asked, and remain loyal to the Sultan. One of his most famous accomplishments was the creation of a new legal code known as the Qanun, which helped to stabilize the empire. The Qanun was a collection of laws and regulations that covered every aspect of Ottoman life, from taxation to inheritance to criminal punishment. It helped to ensure that all subjects were treated equally under the law, regardless of their religion or social status. This legal code would help keep the empire stable for centuries. Suleiman also accomplished massive feats of engineering, building mosques, palaces, roads, and bridges across his empire. He also established a postal service and a public school system, and appointed talented individuals to influential positions based on merit rather than family connections. During Suleiman's reign, the Ottoman Empire reached its peak territorial extent, controlling vast amounts of land and wealth. However, he didn't just acquire land for the sake of having more land. Each acquisition had a purpose. For example, his conquest of Belgrade in 1521 gave the Ottomans control of the important trade route between the Baltic and Black Seas. Similarly, his annexation of Egypt in 1517 secured Ottoman access to the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean trade routes. By expanding into these strategic areas, Suleiman ensured that the Ottoman Empire would remain prosperous and powerful for generations to come. The secret behind the Ottoman success during Suleiman's era was their elite infantry force known as the Janissaries. The Janissaries were originally an elite infantry unit within the Ottoman army, consisting of slaves taken from conquered territories. However, over time, the Janissaries evolved into a permanent standing army that played a crucial role in maintaining order and stability throughout the empire. The Janissaries were highly disciplined and well-trained soldiers who were known for their loyalty to the Sultan and their bravery in battle. They were also responsible for suppressing rebellions and maintaining order in the provinces. Furthermore, the Janissaries acted as a shock troop, spearheading many of the Ottoman Empire's most famous military campaigns. Their prowess in battle helped to expand the empire's territory and solidify its reputation as a formidable power. The rise of the Janissaries as a permanent standing army also contributed to the creation of a professional bureaucracy within the Ottoman Empire. As the Janissaries became more entrenched within the military and political structure of the empire, they began to take on administrative roles as well. This led to the development of a specialized bureaucracy that was responsible for collecting taxes, maintaining infrastructure, and enforcing the laws of the empire. However, the very institution that had helped make the Ottoman Empire so powerful would eventually contribute to its downfall. Over time, the Janissaries became increasingly corrupt, and their power grew out of control. They began to demand higher salaries and more benefits from the Sultan, and when their demands were not met, they staged a mutiny and deposed Sultan Mustafa I. After deposing Mustafa, they proclaimed him insane and put his brother Ahmed I on the throne instead. The Janissaries continued to meddle in politics throughout the 17th century, deposing several sultans and installing their own puppets instead. This period of instability and corruption weakened the Ottoman Empire and made it vulnerable to outside threats. At the beginning of the 18th century, the once mighty Ottoman Empire had become a shadow of its former self. Its population had declined sharply due to disease and war, and its economy was in sharp decline due to high taxes and a shortage of goods. On top of that, the once proud military had been humiliated in battle against European powers. This humiliating defeat led to internal strife as the Sultan's authority was challenged by ambitious generals and corrupt officials. To make matters worse, the Ottoman Sultan was forced to pay a hefty sum of money to the Russians to withdraw from Ottoman territory. And to add insult to injury, the Russians refused to leave without seizing the city of Constantinople. Faced with the prospect of losing their capital, the Ottoman Sultan agreed to cede Constantinople to the Russians. This marked the end of the Ottoman Empire's dominance in the region and ushered in a new era of Russian influence in the Black Sea. For nearly 700 years, the Ottoman Empire had stood as a bulwark between the forces of Christianity and Islam. But now, the Russians had breached their defenses, and the empire was in sharp decline. The last nail in the coffin for the Ottoman Empire came when they sided with the Germans in World War I. When the British and French forces entered Ottoman territory in 1915, it was clear that the end was near. The Ottoman army was no match for the technologically advanced Western powers, and soon the empire was crumbling. The British captured the city of Istanbul in 1918, effectively ending the Ottoman Empire. The Treaty of Sèvres in 1920 divided the remaining Ottoman territories among the victorious Allied powers. The Ottoman Sultan was forced to abdicate, and the dream of a Turkish revival seemed all but impossible. The Ottoman Empire was a sprawling and diverse realm that spanned across 3 continents. It was home to people of different cultures, religions, and ethnicities, who all lived under the rule of a single government. The empire's vast size and diversity made it difficult to manage and govern, leading to administrative challenges that ultimately contributed to its downfall. The Ottoman Empire's territorial extent can be attributed to several factors, including its powerful military, strategic location, and diplomatic alliances. The empire's military strength allowed it to conquer and subdue vast areas of land, while its geographical position between Europe, Asia, and Africa enabled it to expand in multiple directions. Additionally, the Ottomans' ability to forge alliances with other states and incorporate diverse groups into their empire contributed to its territorial extent. Nevertheless, the empire's size proved to be a challenge for effective governance and administration, leading to fragmentation and instability that ultimately resulted in its decline. What are your thoughts on the Ottoman Empire? Let me know in the comments below.